Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're making three awesome interactive buttons using only CSS. No JavaScript, just creativity and clean styling to level up your UI design. By the end of this quick tutorial, you will learn how to create three awesome interactive button effects. A button that zooms. When you hover, it's super satisfying. A button that swipe shine effect for great eye-catching call to actions. And a glowing button that reacts when pressed, like a futuristic UI. So, here's the final output you will be building in this tutorial. Pretty cool, right? After this short activity, you will be able to use transform and transition to animate buttons. And you will also learn how to create hover and active state using pseudo classes and learn box shadow and overflow hidden that can add realistic lighting and motion. And lastly, the before elements that create stunning visual animations. So, stick around until the end because I will give you a fun challenge to upgrade one of these effects to make your own. Don't worry, I'll walk you through HTML CSS line by line so even beginners can follow along. So, if you're ready, let's jump right in and make our buttons come alive. First things first, we're going to create our index.html. Let's use our emit shortcut, the exclamation mark, and press enter to show our boiler template. Then, we are going to change the title of our HTML document to CSS button. Let's add animation. Then, we are going to create our CSS file. So, let's have our styles sheet ready. Let's create a new file with the file name style.css. In our head, we are going to link our style.css to our HTML. So let's have link real style sheet. Then href, the file name of our style sheet is style.css. Now it's time for us to create a container of our three buttons, and let's use div for that. Inside our div, we are going to add the buttons, but before that, let's add a class name for our container div. Then it's time for us to add our button tag. For the first button, let's use a class name btn, and let's say click me. So you have there our first button. Then we're going to create another button and change the class name to btn-swipe. Then we are going to say hover me. And the last one, let's create a class name btn glow. Let's say press me. Right, we have now our three buttons. We are going to add styles to our button. So let's start with our first button, click me. So let's have btn. Let's change the background of our button to bright blue. So let's say background. And we are going to use hexadecimal color code, which would give us a bright blue background. Then we're going to change the font color of our text to white. This makes our text readable. Then let's remove the border of our button. Change that one to none. This time, let's add spacing around our text. Let's have padding 12 px for our height and 24 px for our width. Then we are going to give our button round corners using border radius. So that's 8 px. And let's change our mouse pointer to a hand on hover effect. Cursor, pointer. Let's add a smooth transition of for any change in our button style. So let's have transition all for 0.3 second ease. And we are going to change our font size to 16 as it's the standard readable text size. So let's have font size 16 px. So this time, let's do the style for our hover effect. So let's use again btn hover. Then we'll have transform translate to -4 px. This lifts the button upward by 4 px when we use the hover effect. Then we're going to add a box shadow for the raise effect. Box shadow 0.6 px. (12 px) RGBA. This is the color of our shadow. You will have 0 See? So once we erase that one, we will have, once we hover our pointer, we will have a erase effect. And the back shadow is gray. So once we hover our mouse pointer, we will have this effect. Great. Let's do the underline swipe button for Hover Me. So let's use btn dash swipe. Then let's change the background to none. And the color of our font is dark gray as the text color. So let's use our hexa code for dark gray. And let's set the border to none. Which removes the border of our button. Then let's set the font size to the standard font size 16. And we will have, then let's add the padding. 10 px by 20 px, which makes it clickable and has a bigger area. Then we need to position its underline. So you have here position relative. And change the cursor pointer. And our transition to color 0.3 second and ease, which ensure smooth color transition on the hover effect. Alright, this time let's have our hover after effect. So let's say btn swipe after. Then our content, set it to none. This adds an invisible element used as underline. Then let's place underline at the bottom left of our button. So you have position, absolute, bottom to 0, left to 0. And we are going to add a width and a height that would start at the 0 width for the invisible line. Width, Then our background, let's set it to color blue, same as the first button. So let's use the same color. And then transition with 0.3 second. Yes. This makes our underline animate smoothly. Then let's have our swipe hover. So let's say .btn swipe hover effect, color to blue. And then let's stretch our underline fully from left to right on hover effect. So you have btn swipe btn swipe hover after to with 100%. Okay, this time let's design our glow pulse button. So let's have .btn dash glow background to linear gradient. Let's set the color 45 degrees with our diagonal to color gradient coral to warm yellow. So you have our color coral. So we have our color from coral to warm yellow. So we have our warm yellow. Then now let's change the color of our text to white. Let's remove the border. And then let's add a padding 12 px for its height, 24 px for its width. Then let's add a round corners to make it like a peel shape. Let's change our border radius to 30 px. And again, our pointer, cursor to pointer. And for our smooth transition, let's have transition box shadow, 0.3 Second is transform. 0.2 second is. This would give us a smooth animation for glowing and sizing effect. And for our font size, let's change that one to 16px. That's the font standard size. This time, let's add our BTN Glow Hover. BTN Glow Hover effect. Box shadow 0020px. RGBA 24/7 180 44 and 0.7. Okay, then let's add a glowing effect around our button. Transform scale to 1.05. So this code slightly enlarges when it's on hover for visual drama. Then let's save our file. So let's see our output for our buttons. Nice, right? This time we're going to style our page and setting our buttons in the center of the page. So let's style a body element. Let's have the font family to Poppins. Sans serif. This tells our whole page that we're going to use Poppin sans serif, and if it's not available, it will use sans serif font. So let's go back to our index.html. Okay, so in our body, let's add a heading. Let's have make CSS button, and then let's use a paragraph tag. Let's have hover over each button to see the effects. Save the file. This time, let's set the default text color to gray for better readability. Color to and then transform the body into a flex box container. Display flex. Then set the direction to align the content vertically in a column. Flex a direction, column, and vertically center everything as well. And content ends up right in the middle. So let's use justify content center. And let's make the body's height equal to the full height of the browser's window. So let's have height to 100 ph and our margin to 0, which removes default browser spacing around the body. Then let's design our H1. Margin, bottom to 10x, and our color to slightly darker color. So you have and don't forget the styling of our paragraph. Margin, bottom to 20px. This adds space below every paragraph to avoid crowding. And we are going to also call in our container and changed this one to a display flex with a gap of 20px. Save our file. Alright, so this is now our final output. Now it's your turn. The challenge for today is you're going to customize your own glowing button. You're going to change the color theme, maybe neon pink, lime green, or sunset orange. And you're going to add or even multiple layers of glow and post your version online and tag it with CSS button challenge so that we will see your creativity. Great job! Remember, every line of code you write makes you better. You're improving every time you code, even if it feels small. Keep experimenting, keep creating, and never stop believing in what you can build. You're doing great. If you enjoyed this tutorial, hit that like, share, comment, and subscribe button so you won't miss any fun web dev videos like this. Thanks for watching and keep coding. See you in our next challenges. Goodbye.